Okay ပါကျွန်တော်တို့ခုဆက်လက်ပြီးတော့အခမ်းအနားအစီအစဉ်အရ Financial Education 2.0 Chatbot ဆိုတဲ့ခေါင်းစဉ်နဲ့ Janice Product Design Manager Thitsa Company ကနေပြီး ThitsaWorks Company ကနေရှင်းလင်းပေးမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ် Now according to the agenda, Janice Product Design Manager at ThitsaWorks will deliver Financial Education 2.0 Chatbot. Before we invite the speaker, please allow me to introduce the biography of the speaker. Janice is the Design Product Manager for ThitsaWorks. She has over 8 years of experience in program design and evaluation in the social sector. Her previous experience includes working in refugee resettlement, international education, research, and evaluation consulting for international organizations. She has received a Master of Public Administration, MBA, in Development Practice from Columbia University in New York. In order to present about the Financial Education 2.0 Chatbot, please allow me I would like to honorably invite Janice, Product Design Manager at ThitsaWorks, to be on stage.
I'm Janice Dean, and I am the Product Design Manager at ThitsaWorks. And as a team of ThitsaWorks, I am really happy to welcome you guys here. Very happy that you are here. Thank you. The topic of my presentation today is Financial Education 2.0 Chatbots. We expect that chatbots will have a huge potential in education and financial services as well. So let me begin by framing the conversation with our problem. And this is a problem that we are all very familiar with. This is a missing gap, and it's a lack of financial education and literacy. And we see this when talking with people on the streets, very informally sometimes. We find that people are not informed about microfinance institutions. They are not informed about the services they offer, what's required, or they do not know what's needed to apply. Also, there's a huge distrust of financial institutions, as you may know already, especially for those of you who work on the front lines interfacing with clients. Also, clients are not really sure of the risks involved before they go. They are afraid of debt. And so financial literacy is still a very huge challenge that remains in this country. We also hear from microfinance institutions that there's also a need for educating and assisting clients on understanding debt management and also when to invest and reinvest in their business. So there's also a scarcity mindset that's really hard to change. So I do not think that we need to convince you of the value of financial education, but sometimes it is difficult to prioritize something that could be very operationally expensive. But I'd like to present you with some new research that I found. It was commissioned by the World Bank and as a policy research working paper. And unlike research before that has been pretty inconclusive or based off of narrative literature or did not have a significant sample size, this one was a meta-analysis, and it focusing mostly on randomized experiments, and found that actually financial literacy does have a really strong positive impact. Financial education, has a strong positive impact on financial literacy as well as the financial behavior of clients. So research does show that there are long-term gains. And I would say that this research was also pivotal in that it also factored in the heterogeneity of all the different impact interventions there were, and also really targeted on entrepreneurs and focused on financial education interventions. So that sounds promising, but we also have an implementation challenge. So while there are workshops and literature around that we find in Myanmar that aid customers in understanding financial concepts and some financial information, we find that that is also very limited. The reach is limited. So what we are trying to do at ThitsaWorks is we're trying to leverage this digital growth that is happening, as you've heard Union A talk this morning. And we are trying to also find the existing technology that people are using and leverage that so that we can reach people on a wider scale. And so what is a chatbot? A chatbot is a machine a robot, so that actually talks to you and mimics a conversation of a human through visual and textual methods, and auditory as well. We believe it is informative and interactive enough for users to feel armed with knowledge, and they could also use this to seek further information to seek an MFI. You may have seen chatbots when you go onto, say, when you're online shopping or e-commerce website, and there's a little message that pops up and tries to guide you through finding the right product or guide you through a better shopping experience. So it could be used for many purposes. And here we see that there's a lot of potential for it to be used in the financial industry, particularly because the financial industry is built on processing lots of information, and that is really great for automation. And if you haven't heard already, chatbots are the new apps. And here I present a quote: "People are now spending more time on messaging apps than in social media, and that is a huge turning point. Messaging apps are the platform of the future, and bots will be how users access all sorts of services." So currently, the financial literacy in Myanmar is very operationally expensive. It's happening on a smaller scale, and it's also limited in that it has to be conducted through a person or through an institution, right? Someone has to be connected. Otherwise, it is very hard to receive some type of information or mentoring that's going on. The benefits of a financial education chatbot. So for financial education chatbot, we will deliver key information related to financial services and financial concepts, right? Now, the really strong advantages of this are, first, is accessibility. The chatbot that we will be launching soon, ThitsaWorks, will be on messaging platforms that people are already using, right? So we are trying to find where people already are. It is much more easier than just installing like a new native app or something. Also, there is an immediate response. So if you text, or all you need is a prompt to the chatbot, and then an immediate response comes up. And as I said, the potential of an AI-driven chatbot is huge because it can streamline loads of information, loads of data, and respond to the user's requests. Users can also play with the chatbot. They can access it on demand if it's just on their messaging app. And not only is there immediate response, but they can also do this in private if they're too embarrassed to ask about financial information they may not know about. And with accessibility also comes scale. So the chatbot is also able to handle multiple conversations at a time. It can talk to many users at once, unlike a person that you can only reach a few amount of people. Lastly, it's interactive. So again, it mimics a conversation. And there are also tailored responses. So no two users are going to receive the same response. The response of the chatbot will be based off of what the user says. And a lot of the content that we have right now that we are developing are location-based features or calculations, things that are very pertinent to the user themselves. And with interaction, there's also the potential for gamification, so that makes it a little bit more fun. You get immediate feedback. And we hope that through trying to hook users and potential customers or existing customers with information that they think they want to know, we can also nudge them towards directions that will help them in the future. For example, possibly accessing a formal financial institution. So what kind of information will be on the content of the chatbot? So one of the features we are having is, what will my payments be? This is a feature where we can calculate the repayment schedule of a user. So if they answer the amount of money that they would like to borrow, and also the length of the loan, and how often they would repay, then we could populate a repayment schedule for them. And so that way they know a bit of the cost. So imagine if I were a user and I wanted to know how much is my cost for my loan, immediately I could get some type of ballpark figures around the costs. I am more informed about my risks, and I know that that also depends on my preferences. And if I do speak to a loan officer at a microfinance institution, I also am more informed. I'm more able to follow along to what the loan officer may tell me. And in addition, if I am a loan officer, I can use this tool as well. If I go into the field, I can use this and show to my clients and calculate the repayment schedule, and it will be a sort of an educational tool or assistive technology for me. And even once I leave, the client, if they have access, they will be able to also play on their own with the different figures based off of their preferences. Another feature is we are allowing people to find MFIs that are close to them. So this is a location-based feature. Clients could enter their location, their current location that they're at, and they will receive, the chatbot will geolocate all the MFIs that are near them and that are in our database, and they will be able to receive the contact information and address of the MFIs. So it is like a search directory in your hands, basically. So the potential of chatbots in financial education is very promising, but provided that it is used in an appropriate way. We've heard through our research that chatbots are very useful for finding and disseminating information. The added value that we hope to provide is to provide information and calculations that are very accessible and back and forth, as opposed to an information dump. And there's this quote by Ubasend here, and that says that customers much prefer interacting with chatbots with very functional-based, actionable information, and not necessarily hard concepts or that are too convoluted to follow. So the chatbot's benefit is in this area, that we can deliver information in smaller, digestible chunks. And I also like to bring an example that chatbots in education are also a developing phenomenon in universities. For example, in Cornell University, they have developed something called Course Queue, and this is a chatbot where students could text the chatbot and asks various things like the due dates, assignments, and events. And these are things that we don't require humans to answer. And because of this product, the students were actually able to, or the teachers and professors were able to focus their time and energy on more complicated problems with the students. And that mentoring or tutoring, they could require more creativity. So this is, the chatbot, again, is not to really replace humans, but really to allow humans to do work that's requires more creativity and really do allow us to work better. So similarly, you can also think about how this may work in a financial space. A chatbot, for example, could be great. We can use it for calculating loan interests, and then for coming up with a business plan, the loan officers could focus more on that. We'd like to invite you to be a part of this journey, so please feel free to follow us on Facebook and be aware of the launch that will be coming soon. And I'm also happy to talk, so you can see my email right here, and we look forward to hearing from you. Before we end, though, I also have a video just to get a sneak peek of what this chatbot features. So you can see the user has says hi, which prompts the chatbot, and there's a menu of options. And here the user wants to know their repayment schedule. It asks how much do they want to borrow, and the user says 3 lakh. Also, how long is the length of the loan? How many months? The user says 6 months. And how often do they want to repay? And here the user is saying monthly. And using the standard interest rate, the chatbot is now calculating the total interest that the client may repay, and also their monthly repayment amount. So this is just to give you an idea of the chatbot's potential and what it could be used for. So then here's another menu of options, and then the user types in 4, which is finding MFIs near me. She sends her location, and the chatbot searches and finds MFIs nearby with the addresses and phone numbers. So that's a sneak peek. Be happy to talk later, and thank you very much.